I bet you don't know all 10 of these hidden secrets here at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Let's go. One of the best things about the Disney parks are all the hidden details, the immersion, the secrets that you can look for, and we are going around the park today to find 10, and I bet even if you know a lot about Disney, you don't know all 10, so let's get going. We're not going very far for our first secret. In fact, we're just going under the stop and go green light here right at the corner of Sunset and Hollywood. If you take a look down almost at the exact base of the stop sign right here, you're gonna see a little indent in the sidewalk. If you read closely, it says Mortimer and Co. Contractors 1928. That is a nod to Mr. Mickey Mouse for two different reasons. One, 1928 is when Steamboat Willie premiered, gracing the world with Mickey Mouse for the first time. And then Mortimer is actually Walt's original name that he had for Mickey Mouse, and it was Lillian, Walt's wife, that said Mortimer's too stuffy and named him Mickey instead. I think we can all thank Lillian for that, but I love this nod to Mickey right here on the street. Headed into one of the most popular attractions in all of Disney World for our next secrets. Now, there are tons of cool hidden details here at the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, tons of Easter eggs from the show, lots of fun hidden details. I actually did a whole video about just this attraction, but we're gonna give you a little teaser of fun things to look for right now. While there are lots of cool little Easter eggs from different episodes of the Twilight Zone here in the pre-show room in the Haunted Library, one of my favorites are these broken glasses right here. These are from an episode called Time Enough at Last, where this gentleman named Henry Bemis loved to read, but he kept getting interrupted, and then he ended up being the sole survivor of a nuclear blast, leaving him all the time in the world to read, except then he steps on his only pair of glasses, leaving him essentially blind, in an ironic twist. And as someone who has laser eyeballs because their eyesight was so terrible, that's one of my biggest fears. One of my recurring nightmares is that I can't see, so I find these particularly haunting. Next up, when you head into the elevator, look on the wall and you're going to see the permit, the elevator inspection certificate. If you look closely, it's numbered 10259. That's a nod to October 2nd, 1959, which is when the Twilight Zone originally aired. And if you look at the inspection date, it's Halloween 1939, which is the day in the story that the Tower of Terror gets struck by lightning. And we're going to take it one step further and notice that it was inspected by a gentleman named Cadwallader, who plays the devil in an episode called The Escape Clause of the Twilight Zone. And don't forget to look for one final fright when you're getting off the attraction. At the final room before you disembark the elevator, there's a ventriloquist dummy. His name is Caesar, and he's from an episode called Caesar and Me, where a ventriloquist dummy essentially comes to life and manipulates the owner. And rumor has it from the Tower of Terror cast members that if you don't address Caesar, he's haunted and mysterious things will happen throughout the attraction. So you always need to say hello and goodnight to Caesar. I try to avoid Caesar at all costs. His eyes stare into your soul. Don't look directly in them, like The Ring. This next fun fact is all around Echo Lake, and it's a crate detail to look for. Crate, like great, but I'm going to show you things on crates. Get it? First of all, right outside Dockside Diner, which is a little quick service restaurant that serves fish dip for some reason. I ate it in a Trapped. I don't want to talk about it. If you look at these crates right here, and they did used to have more of them, but some of them are addressed to different people, famous from different movies. Like this one is being sent to George Bailey in New York, is the main character in It's a Wonderful Life, of course. The other crate you can find is here at Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Right across the way from the theater entrance, you will see this archaeological dig site where you are going to see different things like boots and a diary. I always like to point out Indy's hat right here. Things have been tagged. But did you notice there's also a crate right here addressed to Professor H. Jones, Marshall College in Connecticut? That is also a nod to Indiana Jones. Indiana is actually not his real name. He goes by Indy, of course, but his real name is Henry Walton Jones Jr. And in the beginning of the first Indiana Jones movie, you can see him teaching at a college, and it's actually Marshall College in Connecticut if you look it up. So there's a little nod to Indy right there. Also a little bonus fun fact. Do you see the speaker? It's literally sitting right there, hiding in plain sight with a net over it. Disney often does this with speakers. They will tuck them into different buildings, into different windows, because they need speakers everywhere to play the background noise and the background music, but they don't want you to see a bunch of speakers everywhere, so they hide them in plain sight like that one. We're not going too far for our next Easter egg. It's also here in Echo Lake. Now, a lot of people love this Hollywood and Vine one. If you look above there, you will see the silhouette of Roger Rabbit. He's jumped out the window there, and you can see whose office he was in. Eddie Valiant's, of course, that's the detective in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But I have another very fun Easter egg to look for that is a little bit less well known. Right over here at PEEVY'S Polar Pipeline, there's a good one hiding behind the register. And as a bonus, on the door right there, it's for Holly Vermont Realty, and there's an office space for rent. When Walt and Roy first moved to LA, they literally did rent a tiny studio above a realtor office called Holly Vermont Realty, so there's a nod to that too. But if you look very closely, PEEVY'S Polar Pipeline is a spot where you can get frozen slushies, blue raspberry, Coke, Minute Maid. You can even add alcohol if you'd like, but a lot of people don't notice that A, that this is even here, and B, that right here hiding on the side is the Rocketeer from the 1991 sci-fi movie. There he is. Pretty neat, right?
And now a new segment we call Something Molly Doesn't Know. Exactly why is the Rocketeer gear at this location? In the film, the Rocketeer, actor Alan Arkin plays the character of Ambrose Peabody, a mechanic and handyman at an airfield who discovers the rocket pack with his partner Cliff. Ambrose Peabody's nickname was Peevy. And now you know something Molly didn't know. Okay, she may have known it, but she never mentioned it, so the editor takes the credit.
Headed into where the kings of comedy live. Muppet Vision 3D, I love this, one of my favorite underrated shows. And of course, with people like the Muppets, you're gonna have some good gags. Attractions like this are great to just read everything and anything you can because it's all gonna be funny. But there's some especially funny ones I love, like Back in 5 Minutes, Key Under the Mat. Oh, you know you wanna look. There it is. If you read the letterboard here, there's like the Institute of Heckling and Browbeating by Statler and Waldorf, Curmudgeons in Chief. Department of Poultry by Gonzo. Soup of the Day. Very funny. If you read all of the different Department of Artificial Reality, this is not a door. Stress testing department under extreme pressure. Just literally anything and everything you can read when the Muppets are involved is going to be funny, but there's a nod to a famous Disney person that goes over a lot of people's heads. Literally. Because it's over your head. If you look right here when you get into the queue or into the pre-show, there's a net full of Jell-O. Say it faster. A net full of Jell-O. A net full of Jell-O. A net full of Jell-O. One of the original Mouseketeers? That's a nod to her in true Muppets fashion. Our next little detail is tucked away back here on Grand Avenue, which not all the stores have reopened yet. Mama Melrose is back here, but a lot of people don't come back here unless you're, again, dining here at Mama Melrose or dumping out of Muppets. You probably wouldn't notice this one. But if you look right there above the Italiano in the window, you will see Geiger's Rare Books, first editions. Because this is Hollywood Studios, we have nods to old Hollywood, and this is specifically a nod to a movie called The Big Sheep with Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart, where Humphrey Bogart is hired to investigate a gentleman named Geiger, and that guy owns a bookshop. So there it is.
It's time for more of Something Molly Doesn't Know. This is a big sheep, and this is a big sheep. I don't have a clue what this is about, but this is the movie she was talking about, The Big Sleep. You go, Mr. Editor!
Scooting into one of my favorite places to sit back and relax in a theme park, Baseline Tap House, but some of you who know old MGM Studios may know what was here before. Shout it out before I give the answer. Baseline Tap House is a fabulous place to come get a variety of beers on draft. They do beer flights. They also have a selection of wine and cocktails. I love some of the noshes here, including a giant pretzel and a great charcuterie board. But if you know what this was before, you know it was Writer's Stop, which was a coffee shop and bookshelf. And if you look up here at the letters, take a look around, peruse them for a moment, and you will actually see the WRITERSSTOP. Writer's Stop. Would you rather have Writer's Stop or Baseline Tap House? I ask because I don't have an answer. Coffee shop or tap house? How would one choose? I want both. I want a tap house that serves pretzels and cheese boards, but also lattes. Where's that? Can you tell by the ground where we are? We've made it to the galaxy far, far away. We're in Batu, where there are a ton of Easter eggs. So much detail to look for throughout the shops, the ground, the trash cans even in this land. And I've actually done a whole video on a bunch of Easter eggs in this land, but we're gonna go look at one of my favorites that not a lot of people notice over in the marketplace. Heading into the Black Spire Outpost, which is this marketplace here of 4 different little shops. Here in Toydorian Toy Makers, which is where you can get all the cute toys. Make sure you look up. A lot of people know about this one, where if you look up, you can see the Millennium Falcon escaping through an asteroid field from TIE fighters and a Star Destroyer. But a lot of people miss this one right here, which is Obi-Wan and Darth Vader battling on the ceiling. And the cast member just told me that Zabaka, who's the curator of this place, you can see her through the window here, she sleeps right there, which is nice. You know me, of course, we're coming to Buzz Lightyear Land, Toy Story Land, for a few secrets, and there is tons of great detail in this land. I could do one just on this land, probably, but one of my favorite details are that the cooties are here by the bathrooms. Get it? Because cooties, bathrooms, you get it. But that's not even the one I really want to show you. If you're a Pixar fan, you know that the alphanumeric sequence A113 is very important at Pixar. It is this classroom number at CalArts where a lot of the original Pixar animators took their classes. So they hide A113 in every single Pixar film as an Easter egg. And of course they also hid it here in Toy Story Land. Come right over this way. Right outside of Woody's lunchbox. You've got a couple blocks and a couple dominoes. You've got the A right here on the block. You got a 1 on this domino, a 1 on that domino, and a 3 on this domino. All together, A113. Oh, that's not a good enough A113 for you? Well, how about this? On the block, 1, 1, 3. They did it twice. Okay, this last one, maybe the greatest thing ever. I don't 100% know if it's still in here, but if it is, Disney nerds, get excited. We're going into Star Wars Launch Bay. And yes, I mean Disney nerds, not Star Wars nerds. Even though we're going into Star Wars Launch Bay, this used to be the magic of Disney animation, where real animators worked. Not a lot of people realize that Hollywood Studios, then MGM, had a real working animation studio, and movies such as Mulan, Brother Bear, and Lilo and Stitch were actually drawn here. And this exhibit had a movie about animation. It had a drawing class. You could meet characters here. It was all about animation. Now it's about Star Wars. But in the courtyard here, maybe the greatest nod to Disney animation in Walt Disney World. It is with deepest regret and truest sorrow that I share they are not here. They used to have the handprints and autographs of some of Walt Disney's 9 old men, who are the original animators of the original classic films, and I'm not seeing them. Let's keep looking, but I'm very sad right now. You know what? I cannot imagine they would have gotten rid of them. So my guess is they're either backstage somewhere at the old animation building, which is now office buildings, which obviously we can't see them if they're backstage for cast members, but they also could have moved them maybe in front of the Chinese theater where other celebrity handprints are. Here outside the Hollywood Studios Chinese theater, they have handprints of actual celebrities as well as Disney characters, much like they do at the real Grauman's Chinese Theater in California. I've looked at a lot of these very intensely, but let's see if we can find them. Sylvester Stallone. Dick Van Dyke. Winifred Sanderson. C-3PO, R2-D2. Minnie. Mickey. Mark Hamill. Rick Moranis. I'm not seeing them, and I am so sad. I am languine. Is that the word? Linguini? No. What's that word for sad? Now I'm sad. But maybe it'll warm your heart to know at one point Ollie Johnston and Frank Thomas and Ward Kimball and others of Walt's original animators had their handprints here. If you know where they've gone, if you're a cast member and you've seen them backstage, or you've heard rumor, tittle-tattle of where they may be, please let me know in the comments and we will continue this quest to find them. But I will not leave you hanging. I will show you another cool fun fact. Another fun little Easter egg, so I keep my promise of showing you 10. I will leave you with not one, not two, but 3 fun facts and things to look for on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, since we couldn't find the handprints. Number 1, did you know there's a B plot of this attraction? Of course, the main story is that your train has run amok and Mickey and Minnie are trying to save you. But did you know there's actually a plot involving Pluto? Pluto, as you may recall from the pre-show, gets kicked into the trunk by Minnie, which is very not like her. But if you look at the end, especially if you're in the last train car, you can see this a lot more because Pluto shows up in every single scene chasing Mickey and Minnie like the good boy he is with the picnic basket because he still wants them to have their picnic, which is why in the final scene they finally are having their picnic in the park. Number 2, also in that final scene, you will see a street sign with different directions. One of them points to YENSID Valley. YENSID is Disney spelled backwards and the sorcerer's name from The Sorcerer's Apprentice in Fantasia. And last but not least, there's a giant tornado scene, which is a nod to a former attraction in this building. You and I both know it's the Great Movie Ride. That was the ride that started here. And there is the Wizard of Oz scene. But in early Imagineer designs, it was actually going to be a tornado that picked you up and moved you in the attraction. They weren't able to do it because of budget and technology, but that's why there's a big tornado in this ride as a nod to that original idea. Hopefully you enjoyed all those fun facts. Share your favorite down in the comments. Share if you know anything about those handprints. Thanks for watching. Now go watch the Magic Kingdom version of this video. Bye!